Hey everybody, good morning to my herd. You see my mom is here, a few other people, and good morning to the herds, specifically my in-laws. What'd you think of the sign? Pretty cool, right? Some exceptional handwriting for a guy who's spent most of his career scribbling in a notebook. That was a pro tip from my mother-in-law Karen, who said that a lot of folks have been getting the notification minutes after this video started, so you're missing some of the most gripping content of this thing. It's a tragedy, so I think we're gonna button this thing up nicely the more pro tips I get from folks. Welcome in, everybody. To catch you up a little bit, you can look at my page for previous videos. We've been talking about why I'm doing these videos. And I also, we've been talking about specifically the day that I hit rock bottom. I called Kayla and I ended up in the emergency room. And the weekend leading up, talked with friends who encouraged me, said that they loved me and that I needed to get my butt through treatment and come out even better. And today is a very big day. We're going to talk about the day that I checked into treatment. But first, one more quick little recap. It was very cool that a lot of the folks who were watching these, I had asked them to share the different art and the different things that they're creating as they're dealing with all of us being most of us being in shelter-at-home situations. But everybody's just generally coping with the pandemic. And my mom had shared for a long time, she's been doing this, but she shared some photos of the hats that she's been knitting for Project Linus. She's been knitting blankets for them for years. And let's see, my mother-in-law she's watching, she's going to be looking into some videos so that she can sew masks. That is we cannot possibly have enough of those given what's unfolding. She's also working more on her nail polish videos. I love that from the strictly artistic standpoint. And my friend Nindy, she's launching and digging into some of the mental health coaching programs, as she is a certified like life and health coach and is doing tremendous work. I've seen examples from some of my literal artist friends, things that they're working on, from portraits to paintings, poetry. There's so much good stuff happening out there. So I know that we're all finding our own ways to document what's a very hard time. And so with that, keep sharing those things. I think that we can't possibly share enough art and words and ways that can convey how we're getting through this. We'll very much look back on the things that we document today as part of our story. So, part of my story, well, my wife Kayla, she is the absolute portrait of a mom and a teacher, and all of the things that I knew that I was falling in love with, and they've only come to the fore even more. Specifically, we've been working out a lot together. She's been running, she's been doing yoga, and we've been lifting together. You know, she's working on, you know, her health and fitness and becoming more of a physical work of art. So, I mean, that's sort of, you know, chasing perfection for her. But I do want to dig in on a conversation that Kayla and I had this morning leading up to this video. And today's been hard for both of us, you know, in doing all of this, writing the memoir, doing the videos, which today's going to be a bit of a long one, you might have noticed, so bear with me. I've lost sight of things a little bit in terms of what's actually happening in my household and what's been happening in my household. I've been working on this memoir for months. And there's an analogy with when I was hiding my drinking. I've been sort of working on this memoir right in front of Kayla, and I haven't been sharing a lot of the details of what I'm writing about. I've been sort of waiting for the right time to sort of rip off the Band-Aid and let her know some of the things that I did, a lot of the mistakes that I made, so that we can start healing. So I shared with Kayla today a confession that I'm about to make with regards to checking into treatment. You've probably already seen the teaser on my personal Facebook page. And she took it hard. And that was hard for me because she opened up, which honestly, My wife is the toughest person I've ever met. She holds things together. And as she put it this morning, what broke my heart was that she said that for so long she, suffered in silence. As she stood by me, as she supported me. My mother-in-law, Karen, says I saw it, and I suppose this is what's really poignant and what's sad is that I didn't. I was everything was so close to my face, and I was so caught up with my pain. But so this is hard. As Kayla said, these are hard anniversaries right now. These are hard dates because it brings us back to what was a very pivotal time and a very monumental time, but a really, really hard time for her and me and everybody whom my drinking affects. So I want to take a moment right now to point out just how grateful I am for Kayla. I'm grateful for everybody who stood by me, but I'm really excited to slowly peel things back and share everything with her so that when the book is eventually published, she's going to know everything and we will have had time to heal. Baby, I promise you, when this thing comes out, you're going to know everything. And we will have given ourselves the proper time and space so that it'll be ready for it to be shared with the world. And so that most importantly, so that we are ready for it to be shared. So what is this bombshell? It's funny because I did so many awful things and I put so many people in harm's way, myself, perfect strangers, our daughters, my wife. So there's a certain amount of this feels innocuous, but I think today it was sort of like a tipping point. A tipping point with where Kayla and I are today is what I'm saying. The day that I called her and I ended up going to the ER, I left in mostly empty bottles, but there were 5 full beer bottles left in there. And when we retrieved the car Saturday morning, we got home, took the bag, threw it right into the recycling bin. We grew up calling it a bin, but they call it a tote, which I think is more accurate. Anyway, semantics. So they sat there all weekend. And the funny thing about this whole addiction thing is, it's not funny at all. If somebody you have in your life is struggling with addiction, you cannot allow them access to their drug of choice. I know that sounds really obvious, but I think that's where a lot of people's sobriety is thwarted because their significant other, their family, somebody continues to let it be around. And that Monday morning, I don't think Kayla knew that it was in there. But I sure as heck did. I knew that those bottles were in there. She ran to tie up a couple of things at work quick. It was going to take her about an hour to do a few things. And then we were going to take me to treatment. So I'm calling some folks. I'm packing. I'm making sure that I have everything. And it's like all of a sudden, there was Satan. There was my addiction. There was the demon saying, hey, guy, you're going to do some scary stuff today. You're going to have to say goodbye to your family. We got those beers in the recycling tote. Let's drink those. Let's drink them really fast. I know you're good at drinking beer really fast. Let's just drink them. Let's put on that alcohol coat. Let's numb this so we can get through this. And I did. In less than an hour, I drank 5 beers that were like 6% alcohol. So I mean, you're talking about a pretty good deal of alcohol quickly. And we drove me to lunch. We were going to have lunch before treatment. We went to Culver's, and I sat there in plain sight in front of my wife and my daughters, and I pretended that nothing was wrong. And here is where the alcohol did what it was supposed to do. It numbed me. But here's the thing about alcohol and the drugs. The Verve was right, man. The drugs do not work. They do what you think they're going to do. For a moment, the alcohol numbed me. And then you know what it did? It did exactly what I thought it was going to do. It made me feel awful. It made me feel shameful. We drove from Culver's to Gateway where I do my treatment. And, we sat there, I'm filling out paperwork and stuff. The girls are coloring. Eventually they got done coloring. And again, I'm managing to be as detached as possible, doing the masculine thing, not crying. Thanks to the alcohol, I could do that. And then the girls got bored with coloring. They hopped up on our laps and we're going through a magazine together. And the funny thing about kids and the funny thing about the power of advertising is you completely underestimate it. We could be watching a show and the girls would be come on and tractor beam sucks them right in. The ads. So we're pawing through the magazine and we get to an ad for the mother of all ads, Disneyland. And Elise looks up at me because I saw that mouse. I saw those mice, Mickey and Minnie, and I was like, this is going where I think it's going. Elise looks up at me and she says, Dad, when are we going to go to Disney World? And my heart broke. Because I'd been wondering about that for 5 years. I'd been wondering when we would be able to scrape together enough money to do something significant like that for the girls. We've never been big on giving them things. We've always been big on giving them experiences. And I mean, what's a more magical experience for a little girl than going to Disney World, Disneyland, either or. So I sat there and I felt like the biggest deadbeat of all time. There I was, my buzz fading. The alcohol that I had spent money on the past several years had set us back. And I was about to check into treatment where it was going to cost an awful lot of money to get me right. So, still don't know if and when it's ever going to happen. But in that moment, I felt like the worst dad ever. And I held back the tears until the social worker came out and got me, brought me through, was going to bring me in for intake. And I hugged the girls. I told them to be good for Mama. I held back the tears until I gave Kayla a hug, and then some tears came. And I had my face, buried in her shoulder, and I finally allowed myself to cry a little bit, and off we went. I'm going to talk a lot about treatment over the next however long you're willing to hang with me, I suppose. But I think that's probably enough for today. Really, the thing I want to key on there is that, and I shared it in the quote, it's the Foo Fighters song where it's one more time for the last time, one more time for release, one more time for the very last time everyone wants to believe. I can't tell you how many times Kayla and I said, you know what, we're training for this race, so we're gonna stop eating crappy food, so tonight we're gonna have spaghetti pizza from Angelo's. If any of you haven't experienced spaghetti pizza from Angelo's, it is life affirming. So we'd eat a whole bunch of food, and guess what? That wouldn't be the last time, because your body has this sort of thing and it wants more. Same thing with alcohol. I can't tell you how many times I told Kayla, you know what, let's have some drinks tonight. We could be going somewhere, we could be just sitting home watching the Brewers game. Whatever it was like, let's have a few beers. This will be the last time. Morning, before I checked into treatment, I told myself it was going to be the very last time. You know what? I was wrong. Just about 2 months later, I had a lapse. And I drank again. And that was May 20th, 2019, and that's my date, which puts me at 310 days. Oh my gosh, this is the first day I didn't know that right off the top of my head. The thing about lapses is what you want to do if you don't want to relapse. Relapse means going off the rails. It means going days, if not weeks, of drinking or doing your drug of choice. A lapse happens fairly quickly. It can happen over a couple of hours, couple of days. Basically, a lapse happens and you're able to get right back on track. Yes, Karen, I know the number's on my refrigerator. I'll get back to everybody on what the number is. We don't lose our time that we've built up. We don't lose the time that we've amassed when we screw up. And we can always come back. There was this poignant thing going around for the longest time, and it's still a thing, but the tattoo of the comma, or maybe it was a semicolon, I can't remember. But the bottom line is that it wasn't a period. It wasn't the end of the story. So that's what a lapse is. It's a comma. So I don't have just 310 days. I have all of the days that I've put into my sobriety. I have those days in treatment. Those count. I have the days that I spent over the holidays a year and a half ago. Those mean something to me. They mean a lot to me. So how does this apply? Semicolon, thank you. How does this apply? If you are suffering, if you are struggling, you are who you are today. Your lapse doesn't mean anything. There's a reason they say one day at a time. You can only control what's going on today. You can only seize today. And if you're somebody who's been hurt by somebody because of substances, you kind of have to take the same tact. You know, you have to be able to put systems in place, get the alcohol or the drug of choice out of your house, build in accountability measures, and it's relationship by relationship. Sometimes if you have your significant other check in every day, it's gonna push them to drink. That's what happened with me in AA. It was very militant, and AA actually drove me to drink. Please do not interpret that as me saying AA is bad. I had a bad experience with AA, hence the SMART meetings. But ultimately, you have to be able to communicate. And here I'm standing telling you that right now, and I have had an epic fail in communication with my wife because I've been working on this and I haven't been sharing it with her. I've been thinking that just because I shared a few things that everything is going to be hunky-dory. And I have to keep opening up about things. I have to keep communicating and sharing. I have to if you don't acknowledge the wounds, they're not going to heal. If you just, keep a bandage on it, it's never going to dry out, it's never going to scab, never going to heal. And I don't know about you, but I'm all about healing. I'm all about living my best life. So we got this 40,000 steps thing, this memoir I'm working on. I've already talked about it. I'm looking forward to, I want to install a podcast component. The new thing I'm going to introduce is I'm going to start a blog today, because the book is going to be 65,000 words perhaps. But I think a lot of people want more bite-sized chunks. So I'm going to start the blog. That'll be something that you can check out. I'll share some excerpts from the book. I'll talk about what we're talking here a bit more. I just think it'll be one more piece that maybe works better for some than for others. I hope you keep tuning into these videos, and I hope you keep participating. I love the running dialogue. I'd be lying to you if I told you I don't love to see the heart drift up every once in a while. It keeps me going. It keeps me convinced that this can help people. And that, honestly, it's helping me. So thank you for that. Have an awesome day. I'll look forward to catching up with everybody tomorrow. I love you all. The world is not coming apart. It is coming together. I know that's going to start to sound cliche, but you know what? The more we say it, the more it's true. Subscribe to that. Let's pull together. Let's love each other. And I will see everyone tomorrow. Take care.